Good morning and welcome to this week's Wednesday with Warbus. I'm very excited about today. I get to introduce you to Ken Ferguson. He is the chairman of NBC Bank here in Altus. And if you don't know where NBC Bank is, it's on the northwest corner of the square by the courthouse. And right next to it is the Wigwam. We're going to talk a little bit about the Wigwam. But Altus Public Schools is so blessed that Ken he loves art and supports art and always supports Altus Public Schools. But for 20 years, NBC Bank and Ken has given Altus Public Schools a Oklahoma artist artwork every year. And we just received the most recent one right here. This last Monday night at the board meeting. Usually we receive those every January and they come and present those to the board, and we're so thankful, so grateful. And I just want to have the opportunity for you to kind of tell us your love of art, how you got started supporting Oklahoma artists, and thank you so much for including Altus Public Schools.
It really looks great. I'm looking around this room and seeing them all together, which I don't get to see that very often.
Right.
It's really nice. It's good. I've always, Marianne and I, even in college, started collecting posters because that's all we could afford.
Right.
And then when I got a first job, we started collecting prints, signed and numbered prints. And the very first piece of fine art we bought, the gallery let me pay it off in 2 years. It took me 2 years to pay off the very first piece. So this project started a little over 20 years ago. We all the banks at NBC would give out different holiday gifts, and so some would give a portfolio, some would give pens or a basket, and so we decided to give out one thing. And so we thought if we commissioned a Oklahoma artist to do a piece for us, then we could do signed and numbered prints to give out to special friends, posters that are unsigned to almost anybody wanting.
Right.
We give out 10,000 postcards through the teller line.
Wow.
And so when I commission a piece of art for the bank, I just tell the artist, be sure you like it because it's going to be all over the stage.
Right, right. So the most recent one, obviously, Miss Marche came Monday night and presented this to the Board of Education and to Altus Public Schools, and it's a great one. Can you tell us a little bit about the artist, maybe?
I can. Brenda Kingery is 85 years old, born in Oklahoma City. She's a grade school friend of Margaret World.
Okay.
Margaret, they were both in Oklahoma City at the time. Brenda married an Air Force guy. Margaret said he was the best looking guy in the class. And they traveled the world. And so she, as you can tell from this piece, she has a lot of Japanese influence. She went to school in Japan. She went to school at OU, but she's just a delightful person. Her husband died within the last few years, so she's back traveling. She travels, she set up a foundation in Africa to help women sell and market their tapestries. She's still involved in that in several countries and also in South America.
Wow.
But she's just delightful.
Well, I know every piece of art, there's a great artist behind it, and what's interesting to me, well, this is my favorite one, and this one I actually keep in my office, and you've seen it when I do Wednesday with Warbus from my office. This is the one I keep in my office, just because it's my favorite.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to show everyone is on the back of each one of the paintings, or the artwork that Mr. Ferguson provides us, it has information about the artist, each individual artist, and then kind of explains the artwork. Because some of the artwork is pretty abstract. Yes. And it's interesting, so you might tell us about that.
Well, we try to ask the artists what they were thinking about or what they wanted to do. And in this particular case, is Tom Palmore, who grew up in Ada, Oklahoma. He lives in Santa Fe now, but he's such a detail. He wanted to express Oklahoma. All these artists have such a love for Oklahoma, which is amazing. But Tom wanted to do something about Oklahoma. He's going to put scissor tails in it, but the tails were too long, so we ended up with hummingbirds. But he's just such a, I mean, the detail that he does, he's such a great artist. One of the galleries in Santa Fe now handles his work, and his pieces have gone through the roof. It's just unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
He's a wonderful guy. This also has been on.
Yes, I was going to
books.
segue into that. So
Yeah.
after 10 years,
Oh.
you,
Well, the first 10 years of Oklahoma artists, we published a little book, and he was the 10th, so he got the cover.
right,
And that covers also an Oklahoma history books. We gave permission to the publisher to use the image,
that's awesome.
so it's on a couple of the history books.
So now that we've reached 20 years, we're going to have another,
This year, we're interviewing all the artists again and have a little more detailed write-up about them. So there's Tom, about their history and more about them. So that's really
so it'll
kind
be
of
the
fun.
next 10 years, which will, so that'll
Yeah,
be,
well-
that'll be amazing. Well, again, thank you so much for including Altus Public Schools and your love of art, and let us share that with the public and our students. Also, I'd like for you to maybe talk just a little bit about the Wigwam. If people aren't familiar with the Wigwam, it's right next door to the east of, literally right next door to NBC Bank, there on the northwest corner. And talk a little bit about the Wigwam.
The Wigwam was originally the Wigwam Theater, and it burned sometime, I can't remember exactly when, in the 80s. And it sat empty for a while, and we were able to finally buy the piece of property and clean it up. And then we hired a local architect to design the front exactly the way it was as a theater. So the facade looks just like the old Wigwam Theater.
Yeah, with ticket booth.
Yeah, complete with the ticket booth. But it has a flat floor now, it doesn't slope.
Right.
And so we try to put on 4 different exhibits a year in the Wigwam. The current one is called In Bloom, and we're having an open house the 29th of this month, I think. 29th is, I think it's a Wednesday, like 4 to 6. That we, at least once during the quarter, we just open it up so people can come. Anybody can come and view it, but we don't have it unlocked. We don't man it, so you have to ask a teller or somebody or me,
Yeah.
and we'll walk you through it. So we'd love for the art students with the public school to come by, and they can see how different artists approach the same subject, or same artists approach different subjects in the galleries. And this one is obviously flowers and plants, because
Right.
In Bloom.
I've been to the Wigwam a few times.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful facility. The way it's designed, obviously, it's perfect for showing art. Tell us some of the events that people could have in there, because you do have other events other than art shows, correct? Like maybe political things or...
Yes, we do. We allow nonprofits to use it if they have a fundraiser or something. The military has had dinners in there. If they have somebody special, they want to do something a little different than the base, they'll have a dinner. Politicians, if they come to town and want a place to talk to individuals, then we'll allow that.
Okay.
We used to do these all in the lobby of the bank, but the lobby got remodeled and it's a little crowded in there now. So it's a great space for that. And we now have Cameron Hudson, our guy, built some, I forgot what they're called, but they help keep the sound from bouncing back, because it's got a metal roof and it can bounce. So it's a little better now than it was.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot. Do you
Okay.
have a favorite picture of the 20 that you've given out to public schools?
Yeah, all of them.
All of them?
But the very first one is Mike Larson. He was our very first one, and so it was fun to have that done.
Awesome.
And so Mike is still alive. I've lost 3 of our artists this last year,
Okay.
which is kind of tough on me.
Absolutely.
They're really fun people. They're good fun.
Yeah.
The second one, of course, was H. Holden. who did two of the monuments here in town.
Yes.
Crossing the Red at the courthouse and the Vision Seeker at this park.
Those are two beautiful works of art, and they look amazing at the courthouse and there at the park. I love that. Well, again, thank you so much for supporting out the schools and sharing your art with us and your love of art with us. Very thankful, very grateful.
That's good.
And as always, may God continue to bless Altus Public Schools.